Hey, if you have more than one kid in your house, you don't need me to tell you that sibling conflict is real. One minute they're laughing together. The next minute, someone is yelling, someone is crying, and you're standing in the hallway thinking to yourself, how did this escalate so quickly? Most dads I work with, they feel stuck in two very unhelpful roles in these moments. The first is referee and the other is judge. The referee sounds like, all right, everybody your corners. And then you take statements and you figure it out. The judge sounds exactly like that. Okay, you were wrong. You were right. Here are your consequences. Let's everybody move on. Hey, sometimes it's necessary in the moment to keep people safe. Maybe the oldest sister is beating on a little brother, and you really do have to be the referee. But if that's all we ever do, we're either the judge or the referee, our kids don't actually learn how to repair with each other. They learn how to argue their case, avoid blame, or wait for you, the dad, to come in and fix it. Hi, I'm Dan Hayden, and this is the Positive Legacy Podcast for Christian fathers. This is episode 35, When Siblings Won't Stop Fighting, Teaching Them Repair. A couple of weeks ago in episode 33, we started this series by naming the difference between just surviving your week and actually designing a family culture. Those were those "this is who we are" statement. Last week in episode 34, we took one step down and we asked, what values are hiding under my rules? Then we tied each value to a small daily practice your kids can actually feel. This week, we're going to take the same values first, culture shaping approach into one of the loudest parts of home life, sibling fights. I want to walk you through three things. First, how to see sibling conflict as a loop instead of a bunch of random blowups. Second, I want to talk about how you can introduce a very simple kid-friendly version of the repair framework you already know. Name, own, reconnect. That is so that your kids can start to use it with each other. And lastly, how to shift from being the permanent referee to becoming a coach who's training your kids how to handle conflict like adults in the making. Let's start with the loop. You've heard me talk about loops a lot lately. You get a trigger, you react, there's fallout, there's distance, there's reset, and then it repeats. Sibling conflict runs on the same pattern. Here's what it might look like in your house. First, there's a trigger. Someone touches someone else's stuff without asking, or maybe won't get out of their side of the room, or they make a snarky comment at the dinner table, or won't stop humming that one song. There's reaction. The offended kid, whoever it is, shoves, yells, rolls their eyes, slams the door, or maybe even hits back with an even harsher comment. Next, we have the fallout. Now, both are escalated. There's tears, there's shouting, maybe they shove or even they hit, and you hear it from the other room. Or like I said, maybe it's happening right at your dinner table. Yes, this sounds familiar to me. Then you have distance. One of them storms off, the other sulks. They go to their separate screens. You separate them sort of to cool them down. Reset. Life moves on. There's dinner, your homework, bedtime. Nobody really circles back. Maybe you say, hey, you two really need to be nicer to each other. But that's about it. Repeat. Yep, you guessed it. The next day, same dynamic, totally different details. Over time, that loop quietly teaches each child a story about their siblings. She always takes my stuff. She doesn't respect me. Oh, he's so dramatic. You can't say anything to that kid. They never listen. I guess I'm on my own. It teaches them a story about you as well. Dad only shows up to yell at us and hand out consequences. Dad always takes his side. Dad just wants quiet, not real resolution. That's not the story you want any of you to live in. Hey, here's the good news. Just like with your own triggers, if you can see the loop, you can start to change how you enter it. And the key tool here is something that you already know. Back in episode 28 titled When You Blow It, we talked a lot about repair. It's 3 simple moves. We name what happened, we own our part without excuses, and we reconnect emotional. We applied that to you and your kids, you and your wife, and even you and your team at work. That same framework works beautifully with siblings. You just have to translate it into kid language and have the patience to coach them through it. So let's walk through a kid-friendly version of name, own, reconnect. First, we name it. You're helping each kid put words to what they did and what happened. In kid language, this might sound like, I yelled at you. I took your headphones without asking. I pushed you. Remember, you're not asking them to explain why yet. You're just helping them name the observable action. Second, own it. This is the tough part for all of us, not just kids, but especially kids. Owning sounds something like this. Hey, that was on me. Hey, I shouldn't have done that. You didn't deserve that. You'll notice there's no but in there. There's no, I pushed you, but you were really being annoying. And there wasn't any, I yelled, but you always do this. Third, as you know, reconnect. This is where they express care for the relationship again. Because trust me, they really do care about each other. And that might sound as simple as, hey, I'm sorry I did that. I don't want to fight with you. Can we start over? That's it. Name, own, reconnect. Same ingredients you're using as a dad, just much shorter and simpler. Now, if you picture your kids doing this on their own right now, you're probably going to laugh a little. You're thinking, there's no way my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old are going to spontaneously just say, oh, that one was on me. Yeah, you're right. They won't. Not at first. You haven't coached them yet. That's where your role shifts from referee to coach. As a referee, you show up after the foul, you blow the whistle, assign the penalty, and you move on. As a coach, you step into practice and you say, okay, when that situation happens again, here's how we're going to handle it next time. Let's try it together now while it's safe. So the next time a sibling fight breaks out, and it will, because they always do, I want you to think of it as practice time. Let me paint you a picture. You hear shouting from the hallway. You walk in. One kid is crying. The other is just glaring. Your saboteurs are going to show up. They want you to come in hot. Hey, what is wrong with you two? I can't leave you alone for 5 minutes. Instead, as always, take one deep breath. Remember what we talked about last episode. Your value here might be something like, in our family, we repair when we hurt each other. From that place, you might say something like, okay, hey, time out. Nobody's in trouble yet. We're going to practice how we fix it when we hurt each other. You turn to the first kid. Hey, so what'd you do? They say, oh, he's being so annoying, or she always, you gently redirect. That's what they did. I'm asking what you did. Remember, your goal here is to stay in sage. Do not let your saboteurs take over this conversation. And by gently redirecting in sage, you're helping them name. Once they've named something, I pushed him. I took her iPad. You ask, hey, whose choice was that? Let them say, mine. Then you prompt ownership. What do you want to say about that? If they're really stuck, you can offer a line. You can try saying something like, hey, that was on me. I shouldn't have done that. Then you ask, what would you like to say to your brother or your sister to fix the relationship? Here comes the reconnect. You might just be thinking, man, that sounds pretty scripted. And yeah, you're right. At first, it is. Just like any new habit. Think back to when you first started practicing repair as a dad. It felt awkward. Your voice might have cracked a little. The first time you said, hey, that one's on me. You didn't deserve that tone. But repetition builds those neural pathways. The more you walk your kids through this, the more natural it becomes. I want to emphasize something here. This doesn't mean you ignore the original issue. If one kid really did cross a boundary, hit, lied, broke something, there absolutely may still be consequences. Repair doesn't erase accountability. It adds relationship to it. And it doesn't mean both kids did the same thing. Sometimes one really did hurt the other more, but almost always each kid has some part they can own. Yeah, I kept poking the bear. Yeah, I laughed when you fell. I ignored you when you asked me to stop. You're not assigning equal blame. You're inviting each kid to take responsibility for their piece. Let me give you a simple, concrete example. Say your younger daughter comes in tears because her older sister called her a name and slammed the door in her face. Old pattern might look like this. You comfort the younger one, march down the hall, lay into the older one, assign punishment, tell them both to stay away from each other. Distance, then reset, then repeat. New pattern new pattern looks more like you comfort the younger one, then invite both into the room for a short guided repair. Okay, hey, look, I heard there was some hurtful words and a slammed door. We're going to practice fixing this. You turn to the older one. Hey, what did you do? Well, I called her a baby and slammed the door. You not. Hey, thanks for saying that out loud. That was your choice, right? They nod. Okay, what do you want to say about that? After a bit of coaching, they say, yeah, I guess that one was on me. I shouldn't have called you that or slammed the door. Then, what do you want to say to your sister? I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean to you. Now you turn to the younger sister. Hey, was there anything you did that might have made this worse? Because let's be honest, typically there is. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it's, I kept taking her stuff when she told me to stop. You walk her through name, own, reconnect as well. The whole thing can take maybe 3 minutes. It might take 10 the first 2 times. But every time you do it, you are teaching them a way of handling hurt that many adults never even learn. You're also reinforcing your family values. Remember last week? Rules become alive when they're tied to values and practices. If one of your values is in our family, we don't have to be perfect, but we do have to take responsibility. This is where that value lives. If another value is in our family, we stay committed to each other and come back when things go wrong. This is where that value lives. You might even connect the dots out loud after repair. Hey, this is what we mean when we say we're a family that comes back. We mess up and we fix it. Over time, your kids will start to internalize that script. I've seen it in my own house. I've seen my daughter, who learned mental fitness on the softball field and at home, walk a friend through a panic attack at camp using the same kinds of tools: grounding breaths, presence, prayer. She had absorbed a lot of handling stress and hurt, and she passed it on. That's family culture transmitting. So here's your challenge for this week. As always, I don't want you to try to fix every sibling dynamic in your home all at once. I want you to pick one thing, the next sibling blow up you hear. When it happens, take one PQ breath for yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Interrupt your own controller or your judge. Then, instead of just playing referee or judge, try this. Tell them, hey, we're going to practice fixing this, not just getting away from each other. Walk each child through name, own, reconnect. One sentence for each step. That's it. That's enough. If they're too escalated in that moment, go ahead and separate them. Let them cool down for a minute. But make yourself a promise. Within 24 hours, you'll circle back and walk them through a simple repair. And then notice what it feels like afterwards, not just in the room, but in you. You might feel awkward. You might feel proud. You might even feel both. Either way, every time you do it, you are weakening that old loop of we fight, we separate, we never talk about it, and strengthening a new loop of we fight, we calm down, we own our part, we come back. That's raising adults, not just managing your children. Next time, we're going to take the same loop and values approach into an area that triggers just about every parent I know: screens and screen time. We'll look at what happens when phones, tablets, and games quietly start running the house, and how to design a tech rhythm that reflects your values instead of just your fears. But for now, think about one recent sibling conflict in your house. If you could rewind that scene and insert a 2-minute guided repair, what might have been different about the rest of the day? As always, if you'd like company doing this kind of work and a place to process it with other Christian dads who are also trying to raise adults, not just obedient kids, that's exactly what we do in my Positive Legacy Academy every single week. You can find a link to all of that in the show notes, as well as a link to book a complimentary coaching call with me. Until next time, stay rooted in grace, stay steady in mind and spirit, and keep building your positive legacy one small intentional moment at a time. Talk to you again next week.